brillante. And you see on the second beat an appoggiatura. The pickup. Dee da 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 dee da 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 dee da 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 dee da 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 dee da dee da 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 dee da 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 dee da 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 dee da. That bar has two. Now, why would he put an appoggiatura in the middle of the bar like that, on the second beat, which is not the strong beat of the bar? Well, the chaconne theme is 3-1. 3-1. 3-1. Perfect place to add a little emphasis where there's no emphasis in the chaconne theme. So we'd like to hear bum, bum, da da, bum, bum, da da, bum, bum, da da dee da da dee da, because this is where they get the da dee dum. They go da da, rest, bum. So what he's done is he carries forward the idea of the appoggiatura on the second beat, and then he realizes, oh, there's a space in their line, so we can give you another appoggiatura on the third beat. So he writes two appoggiaturas instead of one in that bar. So now let's do it at a rather mezzo forte level to really show the appoggiatura on the second beat. So you're leaning on that. You know what the meaning of the word appoggiatura is? Anybody? The actual Italian meaning and what it comes from. An Italian word. Anyone? Okay. Appoggiare is an Italian word which means to lean upon. Dee da 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 dee da 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 dee da 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 dee da dee da 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 dee da 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 dee da 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 dee da. It's leaning into those notes. So appoggiatura, and just for your information, it has two P's and two G's. I see it written in textbooks with one P and two G's, or two P's and one G, but I almost never see it the way it's supposed to be. It's two P's and two G's. If you take that home, you'll call yourself a success today. That one thing. Okay, so now let's just bring out those appoggiaturas again. Now maybe let's play it with the chaconne melody underneath, and you'll hear how those appoggiaturas come where there's a space in the bum, beam, da da dee da, bum, bum, da da.
So start two before B then. Two before B.
To think about, and we'll get it. Now, let's move forward to example 4, which is the very next variation of the chaconne, on top of the chaconne. And this involves the bass clarinet, the bassoon, who else? Bass sax,
Tubas,
trombones, tuba, euphonium,
trombone,
and string bass. Who's not?
right there.
There he is. So, let's just hear that once, those 8 bars.
We're 8 before C then. Okay, very well played. Now, there's a skeletal structure underneath all these eighth notes. And what I'm hearing is some very nicely played eighth notes, very nice full sounds. But I'm not really hearing what I would call an understanding of this skeletal structure. So you'll see that the first and the fifth eighth note of the first 1, 2, 3, 4 bars are of the same pitch, right? In concert pitch, it's F, the first and fifth eighth notes of the first bar. The first and fifth eighth notes of the second bar is G. Then the next bar is A. Next is B, flat. So I'd like you to play dee da 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 as though it's one note that has a slight diminuendo on it. So dee da 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 da. First we'll do that much, and then use the last eighth note as a pickup. Ba be ba 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 be ba 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 ba, because the skeletal structure is dee da da dee da dee da dee. Okay?
So do it that way.
So that's then the pattern is different from that point. Now we get a pattern of rising and falling. And I'm going to try to keep the rising notes together and then the scale-wise notes together. So the next group after dee da 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 ba beep ba 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 beep ba 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 beep ba 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 bum, those three notes together, da 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 dum, and then dee da 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 dee, or dee da 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 dum. It's an arpeggiation after the scale-wise notes, and then always from the last 3/8 notes into the next bar. So try that with 3/8 notes leading into the next bar each time. So what happens is the middle of the bar is the softest point. Dee da 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 dee da 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 dee da da, which is the natural formation of a bar of 3/4 time. That the 1 is the loudest, 2 is the weakest beat of the bar, and 3 leads you back into the next downbeat. Da 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 dee 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 dee. And it gets a kind of an ebb and flow. Okay?
So 4, make it 4 before C. That's where that happens. 4 before C.
Starting to happen there towards the last few bars. That was very good. Now let's play the whole 8 bars. Is that all right?
Sure.
Play the whole 8 bars, trying to show this rising line. It does go up in intensity for 4 bars. So it's this up and down. Like going over a roller coaster hill, you know. It slows down a little. Da, 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 da. So we get this. And the next one involves these same dissonances we talked about, and a little bit of the da 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 dee 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 in the clarinet. So let's try this again, and without belaboring this one, I'll see what you can apply from what we've put in. So this is 1 beat before C.
So you know
And
what to do, right?
just the clarinets.
So you know no chaconne.
No chaconne with this. I think that we'll
Clarinets.
bring out the little dissonance in the second clarinet, you know, the Fs, and then the groupings in the first clarinet. Very nice, very nice. Now, here is a total change. If I'm not mistaken, there hasn't been one triplet in the work up until this point. So in the oboe and the flute, we get a new element, which is so special. There is no further musical subdivision than duple to triple in terms of mathematics. It's the biggest difference you can have in music. 5 and a 7, 3 and 4, whatever it is. They're all much closer, percentage-wise, to one another than exact duple to exact triple. So here we must make sure that this registers in the ear of the listener. It can't just be kind of fluidly played towards which comes from the second note. The first note comes just like any other eighth note or any other quarter note would arrive. 1, 2, ba. Your first triplet note, it just comes right where another quarter note would be. We don't perceive a triplet until the second note arrives too early to be called an eighth note. Dee da 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 dee, dee da da dee da da da. So it's really the second 2 triplets that I want to hear every time. Second 2 triplet notes. Dee da da dee ba ba ba. Very deliberate.
So shall I do just the flute and the oboe?
Just the flute and the oboe.
Okay. So the flute
Grouping
start-
from the second triplet.
Flute starts.
sorry to stop you right there. But when the flute gets to the eighth notes, then you have to be conscious of the second eighth note. Because now you've set up a pattern in the mind of a listener where we expect triplets. Dee, ha, dee, dee, da, da. They were a little too quick, the way you've just now played them, and not deliberate enough in terms of their right where they are supposed to occur. Dee, da, da, da. Again, group the second eighth note to the next beat and the fourth eighth note to the next beat. Let's try that one more time. I'd like to hear that, that inner intensity. This is probably, it's deceptive, but I think this is probably the most intense moment of the entire piece because of this rhythmical change to triplets, and he takes out all the other instruments, and it's just this upper, so very quiet but intense with vibrato and strict adherence to where the second note of each beat is placed, whatever the subdivision is, duple or triple. Rising eighths were perfect in the bar prior. Okay. But the last two eighths you played were not quite. But this is tremendously intense, and the way you played it is very, very nicely now. Okay? Beautiful. It's strange. It's the lightest moment in the whole piece, and yet for me it's the most intense of all. Well, there's some nice notes coming up. Let's do each one. We'll get to the end. Is that all right?
Sure.
We have time?
Yeah. Yep. We won't get to the Sousa, but...
Well, I think this piece has such wondrous things in it that I think if you...
I'm fine.
Okay. I'm cool. Well, let's just go on then. Let's read this next little variation on top of the chaconne, which is 8 bars before D.
Okay. So 8 before D then?
Pick up or whatever.
Horns have
pick up to 8 bar. Two beats before D. Dissonances at the end. Now we'll just go on with the bassoon, the bass, and the euphonium. No, I'm sorry, just bassoon, bass, and B-flat bass sax.
No bass sax.
Isn't that what? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just, yeah.
All right, bassoon, string bass.
Ready with the quarters?
You've gotten the picture here.
I gave it away.
You gave it away a little bit. But, you know, the picture here, it can be rather a dull moment. However, this is where tension is building and building and building. And the way to show that there's actually a melody happening in here is to bring out where you have the change of note. In other words, you've got C, G for a while there. Until you get to an F, there's no change. So these notes should just be played straight. When you go to the F, then the F becomes the norm. Do, D for a little while. Then you get an E flat. D, F, G. That second G doesn't matter. The first one's where you change. Then you get A flat, and you get B flat, C, A flat, G. It gets more and more involved as you go along. And then, then at the end of it, when you get back to C, F, only the first C now becomes your main note, whereas before it was not your main note. Okay? So now let's hear this one more time with a little more stress on those
So really do it.
melody tones.
Pick up.
Reaches stasis there for about 4 bars at the end. At any rate, so you just bring them out slightly with a little more intensity, a little more fullness to the tone. That's the interesting thing happening there other than these long chords. So we get to letter E. And here we have wonderful dissonances in the second clarinet. And also the second cornet, starting right from the first tie of letter E. Okay?
Okay. Pick up to E then,
I'll show the clarinets, the second clarinet.
and alto saxophones too. So pick up to E.
Yeah, everybody.
Done. Pick up to E.
Yeah.
Very soft.
At the big moment of arrival, but this is very important. Where the retard is marked, which is before the end, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 9 bars before the end, we have a wonderful E flat in the B flat clarinet part, which is a D flat here. We need to hear that second clarinet on the E flat, on the D flat, which is your E flat. Also in the second horn. You see that? Then also on the third beat, the second cornet and the first cornet. The D flat, always this D flat. Also in the trombones, there's a D flat on that third beat. These D flats are so important. Then I'm just trying to bring out these wonderful dissonances towards the end. It reminds me almost of the way this sort of tangles up and then untangles. It reminds me a bit of the way Sibelius finishes his 7th symphony, where everything just gets more and more like vines, all tangled up until it just finally just unravels, and it's a C major chord. And it's the last thing his last symphony, last note of his last symphony. And of course, the trombones are crucial to this. There are so many wonderful D naturals. When you have your D naturals of 1, 2, 3, 3 and 5 before the end, la da. Really bring out those D naturals. It is in the first trombone and the second trombone. And then I hope you can play to the end, at least without breathing after the high G tie. If you could breathe, if you have to breathe before the last note, that's more acceptable than breathing during that dissonance of the G tie, all right, so the G suspension. So sustain through that G for its full length. What we're trying to hear is these dissonances throughout the group where they occur with this wonderful D flat, which changes the tonality a little bit. But there's one bar in this whole ending part where there's no real dissonance. And the thing that needs to come out is the downward interval of a second, which is 1, 2, 3, 4 bars before the end. There's no real dissonance there. And we can't let a bar go by without something happening at this ending point. Everything has to have some tension to it. So the B flat, A flat. The B flat, A flat in the trombones,
It's a second and third trombone.
Cornet.
In the second cornet, the first, the two cornets, that has to come out 4 bars before the end. All right? And then at the very end, I think if I'm not wrong, there's only one person in the whole group that has a third.
There are two of them.
Two people?
Yeah, it's in the second clarinet and the second,
Okay.
second cornet.
Oh, yes, I see it. I marked it in here. There's 2 people who have it. So there's all these roots and fifths, and then just the second clarinets and the second cornet.